Every Point Sports Podcast featuring Greg and Jack starts right now.
Oh, welcome in everyone on God, we're all the way through July. It's July 21st on a Sunday. I am Jack Neary, Fantasy Farm Sports. We've got Greg Kratzer from Old Gamer GK. How are we feeling, Greg?
We're doing great. Training camp starts for most teams within the next 5 days. Some teams are already reporting. I believe it is the Raiders has already reported. So let's go.
Starting to get excited. I saw a post the other day, maybe it was 3 days ago, 50 days till NFL football. So,
wow,
we're getting there.
Yes, it's sad because we know the summer's over as soon as that hits, but it's exciting because we all know it's our favorite time of year.
It is, you're right. It's pizza, chicken wings, a little bit of suds, right? That's the type of year we're headed towards.
A little gambling, or I should say a little bit of betting.
Yeah, we bet. We don't gamble.
That's right. A little bit of betting. We got the games,
Oh, God, I love...
fantasy football, a lot of fantasy football.
Oh, I can't. It's the rankings are starting to fight. Like, because when you start looking at guy, you don't know anything, right? Yeah. But now you're when you start moving a guy down and move a guy up, you can feel the flow, right? Like, I feel how the guy's numbers are going to come in. And we'll give you guys some of that headed forward. But, right, we got to talk about our men's Olympic basketball team.
Shame.
I mean, first of all, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to, I know you got Google, or maybe you have a globe in your house, but I want you to go find Southern Sudan. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go find Southern Sudan. I don't know where regular Sudan is on the globe. I want you to go spin it, right? I think Greg's looking it up right now. I don't know where it is, but I know that their talent, basketball-wise, is very close to ours.
Yeah.
Or at least they care about it more than us.
They care about it.
Because the show that we put on yesterday as an Olympic squad was nothing short of embarrassing.
Ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. And, they looked, it was lackluster. It looked like our Olympic team looked like they were playing an all-star game. You have to respect the other team. In fact, midway through the third quarter, we were down by 11. It was just, it was a poor performance, and unfortunately, I know that's a coach thing to do, but Steve Kerr took the blame. Yeah. He didn't have them prepared, and it's fine, but I know it's a lie. He had them prepared. They didn't show up. They're the athletes on the floor.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Steve Kerr could have put on a better performance out there today.
Mm-hmm.
Athletically, it was sad, and I want Steve Kerr wants to take the blame. It's fine. He could take the blame, right? He's the coach, right? He's going to stick up for his players. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go out there and I'm going to blame Nike. Ooh. Right? Because Nike is okay with what this Olympic squad looks like. Just without the best player in the NBA, which is Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a rumor anymore that they didn't want Jaylen Brown on the team. It was Nike that kept him off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth now. So if your performance, if the NBA, if the men's Olympic squad doesn't win, let's say they take silver or bronze, which is pathetic with the athletes they have there. Okay, but if that happens, Nike was okay with putting a subpar squad out there because they didn't put the NBA Finals MVP on the team. They deserve some blame because Jaylen Brown, not only talented, he's a workhorse. He's an absolute monster, and he's an athlete. And he had choice words for Nike years ago, and I guess this is Nike's retribution. But at the end of the day, if the team out there underperforms, who looks bad? Not Steve Kerr. The guys out there and the company for which the team was picked. Nike.
Okay.
Looks bad.
Why did Nike want him off?
I guess he had choice words for the brand or directed something in their I don't know exactly what he said. But him and Nike don't have the friendliest relationship.
Mhm.
I do believe it had something to do with workers and how they were treated. I don't have the direct quotes, but Nike, it was rumored they didn't know why Jaylen Brown was left off the team, and they thought it might have been a player. It could have been an Isaiah Thomas situation, and now it's come out over the past couple weeks that Nike blocked him from being on the team.
Mhm.
So
All right. Well, this is what the thing I think the beef is that Jaylen Brown for his first 5 years he had a contract at the Adidas. After that,
okay,
he didn't sign another shoe deal. He currently does not want a shoe deal because he doesn't like the control that the companies have over the players. He's been wearing Nikes and various New Balances. He has
okay,
been currently wearing Nike Kobe sixes, but
all
with
right,
the reverse Grinch shoe. But he had the Nike sign removed from the shoe.
okay. I mean,
I
and
don't know if
again,
that's the biggest beef, but that's just what I'm seeing really quick here when I brought this up is, and then, his tweet was, "Since when did Nike care about ethics?"
he's right.
So,
He's,
yeah.
he's,
Yeah,
and
'cause,
apparently they might not care about winning all that much either.
yeah, I guess this stems back to 2022 when Kyrie Irving made the tweet about that book or something, that
Yeah,
anti-Semitic stuff,
yeah.
and Jaylen Brown tweeted out, "Since when did Nike care about ethics?" And I guess that stems all the way back from there. That was Brown's first strike against the swoosh, they said. So,
Okay, and but
yeah,
like it's non-consequential. Like what did all he did was have an opinion about what his friend said. That's all he did.
yeah.
I don't think it's very much. I'm just happy they got Steph Curry. Well, Steph Curry, actually, you know
I
what? I'm gonna tell you. Was it a Van Matrix?
Van Matrix, one of my dudes from, he follows me over on Twitch for my gaming. Great guy. He's a streamer himself. Uh But, he doesn't do it as much as he once used to, but, very good guy. Always drops in my stream, always funny, very good guy. So,
So out of all of the players yesterday, and I didn't catch much of the game, but when they were down, you could see Steph Curry concerned.
mhm,
Steph Curry made a three, and then he took a shot at another one, missed, and then got a steal. But Steph Curry was like, "All right, like guys,
yeah,
we're down by 9 with like 6 minutes left to go here in the third. Like, I'm not willing to lose this. Like there was a look on his face like, I'll shoot 9 more threes unless you guys
yeah,
start playing here.
mhm,
Steph Curry's awesome,
yeah.
and like I said, I just
And
wish Jalen.
he's probably dumbfounded just like you are too. Like, "Listen, we have the best of the best athletes out here. How are we losing to these guys?"
You know, I mean, Steph Curry. What's great about Steph Curry is although his father did play in the league, Dell,
Yes. Mhm.
he's
It
not
was another great shooter too. He was
he's not
another great
Silver
shooter.
Spoon.
Mhm.
He went to Davidson because
Yeah,
they thought he was too small to play.
too small. Yep,
Right? All
yep,
the muscle that he's put on, the shoulders and biceps he has now, that's like 5 pounds over the years of
yeah,
muscle. 5, 10,
mhm,
15. Right? He's done a good job with himself. So, like, he's not sitting there just happy to be there. I don't think that at all.
mhm.
I do believe that there are some guys just kinda happy to be there.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
And it hurts the team, and again, I think Jaylen Brown would have made this team better, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, a couple choice words for a multi-billion-dollar company, like, it just makes you look small, leaving him
Mhm.
off the team. It doesn't make you look like you took the higher ground. You coulda sat there and you coulda said something, "Hey, listen, although we disagree" here we go, it's really easy. "Although we disagree with Mr. Brown's statements about our brand and about our company, There was no way we can leave a supreme talent like him off the Olympic team.
Yeah.
Done.
Hmm.
Unless you're short-sighted and small, Nike.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's looking that way.
Kind of what not kind of but kind of a little bit the same way that Kalen Clark was left off of the team.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can't convince me that that woman's team wouldn't be better with her on it. You just can't. You can't. You find me another woman NBA player that could sorry, I shouldn't even say. You find me another WNBA player that could shoot the 3 like her, and I'll shut my mouth up. I won't talk about it again.
But what I think, and here's how I feel. I think that, years past, the Olympic team is about camaraderie, right? Because you do have to travel on the same bus together. Okay. The camaraderie was why Isaiah Thomas was left off.
Yes. Oh, that and Jordan. Jordan specifically said, "I don't want this bleep bleep on this team." He couldn't stand him. He still can't stand him to this day. He can't stand him.
Yeah. And it's odd too, because the way Thomas talks is like they were friends when he came into the league.
Yeah, it all stems back from when Isaiah Thomas walked off the floor and didn't shake hands.
Yeah.
That's what it all stems to. Like Jordan took that as being the ultimate disrespect that he could get. Like that's the worst thing that could have happened to Jordan. Jordan, and he never forgave him from it, which is crazy because to me, if somebody would say that about Jordan, that Jordan did that, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. He's the most competitive guy out there. Like that makes sense to me. But like Isaiah Thomas, that didn't make sense to me that Isaiah did that. It would have made more sense if Jordan did that. It would have went more towards his personality.
It's so interesting, right? Because Jordan, I'm a big Jordan guy, but there are times he acts a little pious.
Oh, yes.
A little holier than thou.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like, man, like let's step back for a minute, right? Because you don't necessarily always practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Like,
absolutely not.
He cares about, just real quick, the inner city and all that. Brother, your shoes are $180.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why? Because there's a Jumpman symbol on it, and instead of it, like, let's just be quite honest here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have no issue with somebody making their money. No issue with somebody doing that, but don't be holier than thou.
Right? Just come on.
Yeah.
Let's just bygones just be they're never going to be.
Yeah. No, they're not. And Jordan, he holds grudges. He does.
Yeah. Oh,
he'd be the first one to admit it. He does.
There was this guy. There was a no-namer, and by no name, I mean I can't even recall. And I recall, the Vernon Maxwell beefs, all these other stuff. Right? There was a guy, literally halfway through the first quarter of their meeting, and Jordan goes, "What did you say about me?" And he goes, "Yo, Mike, I didn't say anything. I think you're one of the best." And he's just started making up a story about him, so that he dropped 48. He goes, "Yo." Yeah. He goes, halfway through the third quarter, I thought Mike was damn crazy. He thought it was nuts. All right, so not mad about Caitlin Clark because she has a long career.
I agree with you. When me and Jack has discussed this back when she was left off, it's just, to me, she is the best. Even as a rookie, she is the best three-point shooter in the WNBA. She just is.
And the thing is that if I don't know whether her personality messaged with the other women. I mean,
yeah,
women can be a little cattier than guys, right?
Yeah,
but I liken her status. If she did get on, she would have been the Christian Laettner of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing and Scottie Pippen were all bigger than Christian Laettner, even though he was a great star.
Yes.
The problem here is that her star shines brighter than Taurasi's.
Oh, yeah.
And all the other players that are on the team.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real issue. And there would have been, she'll get her time. In 4 years, she'll be on the team.
Oh, yeah, we know this.
Her dawning will be her and Angela Reese, because Reese can play.
Oh, no, and I agree. Listen, I agree. I'm not I just said 3-point shot. She's not there with the game, with the WNBA game yet there. She's not. She's not one of the best players, but she is the best 3-point shooter in the league, I think, even as a rookie.
Yeah, she's really
That's
good.
just
I
my
mean,
opinion. She's just good. I mean, she's the Steph Curry of WNBA.
she is, and that's
She could shoot the three-pointer from anywhere on the floor, and you have to agree that most of the time she's gonna make those shots. So,
she needs 5 to 10 pounds,
mhm,
just
yep.
like Steph Curry did. She won't need to put on as much muscle as Steph Curry, but you do need. Jordan ran into Anthony Anderson on vacation, lost to him in checkers, and didn't talk to him for
Talk
3
about
days.
3 days.
Bro,
That's
Mike,
great.
we're talking about checkers here.
I know.
Hey, he's got a
We
There's
got
a reason
Grant.
why he's got an ex-wife.
She
Misses
misses
clutch.
clutch with the 3. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of the WNBA. It's just every time I turn on the TV, she's hitting threes left and right. And I do remember in Iowa, she was hitting the threes. Even she was hitting clutch threes at Iowa. So
Yeah, I mean, she's fun. She shoots 30-footers. I mean, it's
yeah,
undeniable, but her time will come. Obviously, the passing of the torch should have been a little bit different, but, Isaiah and Bird didn't pass the torch very nicely either, so
no, they didn't want to pass the torch. They really
well,
did.
Bird walked off on Isaiah. Isaiah
Mhm.
walked off on Michael, and Michael goes, "I just won't talk to you for 3 days after we lose a check."
That's it. That's it.
What? See, that's what I'm saying, like, he's very pious, like, "Brother, it's checkers.
Yeah.
This is crazy."
Yeah, I listen, I get it. I mean, I don't like to lose at Monopoly or Uno. So I mean,
No,
so
like, if you
I
lost
I
to
am.
him golfing, he'd probably sock you in the face if you weren't an athlete. He's half crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's it that that reminds me of a story back when I was in junior high. Uh, Back when I was a kid, we used to like to arm wrestle in grade
Okay.
school, junior high. It was just something that we did, and I was pretty decent at it. And I remember I was arm wrestling this one kid in the lunchroom, and I was beating him, and I was like this close to putting his hand on the thing. And what does he do? He pops me right in the freaking mouth. Instead of me beating him, he pops me in the mouth.
Well, he had your other
What
hand.
the
All he did was
hell?
pull you and sock you.
That's it. But I was like, what the hell?
It
That
is
reminds me
ridiculous.
just what you said, it kinda reminded me of that.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, I I guess we'll wrap this up by do you think listen, first of all, we understand that Nike got it wrong.
Yes.
They did. And most people know it. And I think what was it? Jaylen Brown actually paid for his own plane ticket to go hang out with the Olympic team for a minute, just to give Devin White or Derek White his kind of, hey, I understand that they picked you. We're cool. We're teammates. Kind of handshake.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
thought that was great.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, but I mean, Nike's wrong. And do you think the Olympic team will end up winning it all?
I think when it's all said and done, it's hard to believe that they're not going to. Like, you said, before that these are exhibition games.
Mhm.
I find it hard to believe that once the games count, I think they'll have their mind set in it. I think this was something that they slept on. Uh, they thought, "All right, we can come in here with half our game and still beat these guys." I mean, look, who the hell are these guys? They're nobody, you know? And, I think that creeped up on them. I think that they were down before they knew it, and then they couldn't come back from it. They weren't prepared.
I think they'll
And I
take
think
silver.
Kerr said it was his fault because they weren't prepared for it.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they just
I
found
just find
Southern's.
it hard to believe that they're not gonna win it. I
I
really do.
know, but in events like this, oftentimes the names on the back of the jersey don't matter very much.
Oh, I listen, I agree. I mean, I'm one of them. Bring Jordan out of retirement and just let him play.
He would play. He would care. They're like, Mike,
He
you know
would.
what? You have no idea what Southern Sudan was saying about the Air Jordan. He'd be like, what? What did you? First of all, First of all, I'm an older guy, but I'm gonna play one game of basketball and one game of checkers. I'll want
That's
my
it.
rematch.
Put me in the last 5 minutes of the game, and that's it. That's all I need. Just put me in the last 5 minutes of the game.
King me!
That's it. King me.
King me!
James would
king
be,
me.
I'm here.
Huh?
James would be like, I'm here. King James.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, he'd be like, I am the king. And be like,
Nah,
that's
well,
it. I'm lacing
know.
up. He'd have his wife go, hold my cigar.
That's
All right,
probably
so-
the worst thing that could have been done to LeBron, though, because that's what made me hate LeBron, is how he was kinged before he ever did anything in the NBA. Like, it was supposed to be Jordan, then Kobe. I understand Kobe had that whole Colorado thing that happened, but they just pushed the shit out of LeBron James on us. I mean, shoved him down our throat.
Well, I mean, he was great. He was a great high school player. I mean, there's, and nobody ever saw anything like it. That's part of the, the intrigue. Like a lot like Caitlin Clark hitting the 30-footers. You're like, oh, this passes the eye test. This guy's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I get that, but I mean, we still had great players at that time. I understand Jordan just stepped away, but we had some really good players back then.
We did, and I think that LeBron James's greatness was tamped down by a wet blanket a little bit by the ability of Greg Popovich able to manipulate situations.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg Popovich didn't have the best player, but he went, okay,
coach,
I know how to beat this guy.
Yeah,
and let's not pretend like he didn't turn the stadium's temperature up to 110. No, I mean, he did that.
Listen, I know. I'm just laughing about it.
Like, you're playing with a guy that was almost ex-CIA.
Yeah.
The best thing that you could do is give him compliments. It's a smarter way to do things.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone disputes that LeBron is good. He's just overhyped. Listen, if we're talking about when he first came into the league, absolutely, what Jack just said. Yes, he was a good player, but we had other players that was next in line to be the face of the franchise, not to push a rookie on us, is my point. And I understand it was kind of tough to push the whole Kobe Bryant at that time with the whole Colorado thing hanging over his head. But nothing ever happened with that Colorado thing. So, like, to me, he's a sponge from that. Like,
who's LeBron James's who represents LeBron James, not his agent?
Nike.
That's right.
What you just alluded to with Jaylen Brown.
So there is
Nike. What I think happened, it wasn't the NBA. I think it was Nike. Nike's like, listen, we have a guy for the next 15 to 20 years that we can hitch our post to. This is going to be the next guy, so we're going to push him. And between him, Nike doing that, and then the NBA following suit, it put a lot of bad taste in us common people's mouths, saying, listen, you're pushing this down our throat when we plainly see there's other great players in NBA that you guys aren't pushing right now. Why?
Right. Here, ready? Tracy McGrady.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
So
Vince Carter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nike,
like, there was some
not Nike guys.
Kevin Garnett. You know what I mean? There was some great players back then that they didn't push.
Weren't they all Adidas guys?
I don't remember. Were they? I don't really know that.
So my whole thing again, it stems to LeBron James never played with an all-star in Cleveland, and that was Nike. I'm saying that, and Larry Hughes actually was an all-star, averaging 20 points a game.
Irvin was an all-star too, wasn't he?
But this was after that. They're talking about even before Kyrie. Before LeBron came back to Cleveland.
I was going to say, didn't he play with Kyrie? Didn't he play with Kevin Love? Like,
But the whole, he didn't have enough help. That's why he went to South Beach. It's like, no. You guys don't understand. Larry Hughes was a real good player.
Yeah.
He was better than Scottie Pippen
Mm-hmm.
in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have a pure scorer. See, my whole thing is like, Scottie Pippen can do a lot of things. Can't get you 45.
Okay.
Like
Mhm.
in the 90s, there was only one guy. Like Michael could get you 45 and do a lot of things. Where do we want to use his energy best? Well, getting us 45 because
Mhm.
Scotty can't do that. And that's what happened.
Okay.
That's what
What
I
do we
think.
got here?
Oh, no one got shafted more than Reggie Miller over circumstances completely off. Listen,
Oh.
Reggie Miller. I'm a Reggie Miller guy.
He was. Everybody wants to talk how Jordan was cutthroat. Reggie Miller was cutthroat too.
Dude, he was awesome. Reggie Miller.
Everybody thinks Reggie Miller was such a nice guy. No, he was one of the most competitive people you ever could be around. He was right up there with Jordan. Some of the stories you hear.
And the history books aren't going to treat him politely either. I don't know
No.
why, but they're not
I
going.
don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either.
Stuck with his team, worked really hard. Davis brothers, Rick Smits, Mark Jackson, Reggie Miller. To me, that would be that they should incorporate two teams I want to see on NBA 2K. And then we could we'll shift because we're talking about fantasies anyway.
Yes.
Two teams. I want to see Barkley's Suns on there. That's an all-time team.
Okay.
Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, Charles Barkley. Come on. I want to see that team on there. And I want to see that Indiana Pacers team on there. End of story. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And by the way,
Indiana
Jordan controls a lot of that NBA 2K franchise.
Oh, does he?
Let's stop holding the grudge and put those teams on there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put down the checkers, Mike. Come to our fantasy world as we shift into, because that's what we're shifting, right? We're shifting into the fantasy football off season, and we've got training camps coming up, as you mentioned earlier. I think the Raiders, you said, opened up this week. I've got a little
Ravens.
Ravens. Okay.
Yes. Yep. I think the 20th was their first day. Rookies started, I think, the 18th, I believe, if I remember.
I've got a little taste for you guys. Got a little treat. And I'm going to give you Fantasy Farm Sports before the article is released. I'm going to give you 20 through 16 on my running backs list for the season. How's that sound? Pretty good, huh?
15 through 20.
Right. 20 to 15. But I'm going to start with 20. All right. So 20, I've got Ramondre Stevenson. Uh-oh, we've lost Greg now. 20, I've got Ramondre Stevenson. Okay. And I understand that last season, he didn't produce exactly where we wanted him to. I think he got banged up early. Ezekiel Elliott took some of the carries. I'm not worried, not one bit, about Antonio Gibson taking time away from Ramondre. I think it's going to be a more congruent offense this year. Jacoby Brissett puts his running back in good spots all the time. It's not going to be Bill Belichick led. It's going to be a much more fluid system in New England this year. So give me Stevenson on a bounce back at 20. 19, the least sexiest player, I think, in all the land and all the lists is going to be James Conner. I know he gets you touchdowns. And I know he's part of an Arizona team that's improved. Kyler Murray's going to be back 100%. Marvin Harrison Jr., we know the lineage. And James Conner's going to get carries. But as you look at him on your draft board, there is no way you're going to draft him higher than running back 19. There's not enough upside, I don't believe. So that's where we have James Conner at 19. Moving on, I've got a guy that has tremendous upside in an offense that is built like a Corvette, and that's Devon Achane. Running back out of Texas A&M last season, had a few nice weeks, got banged up. If he can stay healthy inside of that Miami offense, they are going to pass the torch from Mostert to him. And I believe that he'll have tremendous upside. So if you can get him around 18, I mean, he might be boom or bust. but you want that guy in your flex spot if you could steal him away, right?
Okay.
He's going to. I just he can give you a 35-point week in a standard league, and that's a guy you
Mhm.
have to have on your team. So
Mhm.
Devon Achane at 18, feeling good so far. How you feeling about these so far, Greg?
I'm liking them. I just have a few points on a couple of these that I'm
All right,
trying
let's
to
hear
let
it. Let's
you
hear
go
it.
through your spiel here before I just a couple questions for you, especially with James Conner. They drafted Trey Benson.
Mhm.
Uh, you think he's going to cut into his Connor's carries a lot? I think so. I think Trey Benson is going to end up being their starter at some point. He was a
So
hell of a running back in college.
this is the way I would look at it. I would look at it as David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Mhm.
So David Montgomery last season, just for reference, finished running back 9. Still got 219 carries despite Gibbs's presence.
Mhm.
Still gave you 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I just kind of believe that James Conner's going to get the bulk. What did Connor have last season in carries? 208.
Yeah.
Right in the ballpark.
Mhm.
So I think this might be the last year you can bet on Connor. Trey Benson is going to get the keys.
Mhm.
Not sexy, but I mean, in the 4th round, you're gonna be looking at it going, I'll take James Conner, I guess.
I mean, yeah, if especially if you didn't go running back any one of your first 4 round picks. Like if he's there at 4, around 4, around 5, I mean, yeah, I could absolutely see that. Um,
You're never
I
gonna
mean,
look at him and go, "This is great."
is that something maybe I might think about just waiting and taking Trey Benson instead? That's something that I might do, depending on who's there. If there's another position there with a better player, I might go that route and then take Benson later, kind of like we did with Gibbs last year. You know,
Yeah,
and I totally agree with that. I think Benson's going to be in between the hashes, in between the numbers, and they're going to bring Connor in for goal line, kind of like they did with uh, Montgomery.
yeah,
I could see that. Within 5 yards, you bring in, your power back, your guy that can get you the touchdowns, but in between the hashes, you bring in your guy that can get you a 30-yard run.
and Connor gave you what, 1,040 yards last year, and he was the only
Mhm.
offensive player anybody was targeting because of the Kyler Murray waiting, right? The waiting period.
Correct.
And
Uh-huh.
and so now I kinda think that I think the numbers could go up a little bit. And
Mhm.
his touchdowns were 7 on the ground. I think that number can come up a little bit.
Mhm.
I just there's no juice. There's no, "Oh, I drafted James Conner." Like, who are you telling? Right?
Mhm.
Like, your wife who doesn't play is sitting there going, I can't listen to you talk about James Conner any longer."
I mean,
No, I
that's been his whole career, though. Like, you get him in the later rounds, and you're like, "Okay, I got James Conner. He's a fill-in for a couple weeks," you know? But he's a sneaky fill-in. He's a guy that gets you touchdowns, and before you know it, you're like double-digit points. You're like, "Oh, huh."
yeah, oh, for sure, but I feel like I just drafted Roseanne Connor
Uh,
or Dan
you're
Connor.
not happy about it. But when
No.
you have him filling in for a couple weeks, you're like, "Okay, not as bad as I thought it was gonna be."
Yeah. I'm actually so that Devon Achane I like at 18.
I do
Really
too.
explosive.
My point with my well, not point, but my question to you is, what's going to happen
Okay.
with Mostert? Or do you have Mostert more higher up on your list?
I do not
Oh,
because
really?
yeah, because Mostert last year was very good,
Mhm.
and as the season wore on, he started to wear.
Mhm.
And I just believe that look, we didn't draft Devon Achane as high as we did just to have him hanging out holding a clipboard. I
Mhm.
think that Mostert was there for teaching purposes,
Mhm.
and I think that it was supposed to go shift earlier, but Mostert kinda continued because Achane got hurt. Achane's the guy.
Okay.
McDaniels wants to run you off the field.
Mhm. Yeah,
He
I
wants
mean, he
speed,
comes from Shanahan's system. Like,
but
that's
he
what
wants
he wants to
4.0
do.
everywhere.
Yeah.
He wants
Mhm.
4.0 40s.
Mhm.
And
And
if he could
Mostert's
have
still
Hill.
one of the fastest player in the league. He's
No,
still
he
one of
is.
the fastest. He'll even say it. Mozart will say he'll beat Hill in a race, but Hill won't say that.
He is. I think that he doesn't fall too much lower, but he falls lower for me.
Mhm. And everybody forgets Mozart he was a track guy too in college for Purdue.
Oh yeah,
He was a track guy. He
yeah.
was a football and track guy. So like listen, he's fast as shit. He really is. Still at his age. Very,
I
very
just
fast.
don't
Still one
believe
of the
that.
fastest players in NFL.
In fantasy football, especially with running backs, I believe in offensive line and opportunity, and I
Mhm.
just think that the opportunity is starting to shift there.
Okay.
I think they
I
want A Chain on the ball. I think they like PPR especially,
Mhm.
right? He's gonna be your pass catching back. They want him in
I mean,
space. They want a lot of stuff.
but Mozart can catch the ball too. I mean,
Yeah.
he can catch the ball very, very well. Um, I just I have no problem A-Chain being at 18, but I think Mozart needs to be on the list too. I thought you would have maybe Mozart like around 14, 13, somewhere in there, just kinda hanging out, and then A-Chain being there. I
I
don't
think
know.
most start
I
to
just
give
think
you a
Mozart needs to be
great.
on the list. I really do. I think Mike McDaniels feels like he needs to, out of loyalty, give Mozart the chance to be the back.
Oh, he's on my list, just below
Mhm.
20.
Okay, all right.
He's on my list.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. I'm just saying. I would keep A-Chain where he's at, and I don't know who you have, like, in the 13, 14 area, somewhere in there, but that's kinda where I would have Mozart hanging out. I wouldn't be
Mhm.
upset if I got him in the 5th round, you know?
I
4th, 5th round,
so
same thing as
it
A-Chain.
it's tough because the guy that I have at 17, I believe that his coach is going to run the wheels off him, and
Oh,
that's Gus the Bus Edwards.
one other point on that. Mozart and A-Chain both proved that they can't stay healthy for a full year.
Yeah. Well, we'll
So,
see. I think A Chain will be fine this year,
okay.
and
All right.
I think that I think that there's proof that he's going to be the guy in Miami,
Okay.
and he's going again, maybe boom or bust, but you want that on your team, and I think you can.
Mhm.
You might have to. You shouldn't take him before the third round, but if you could find juice like that in the fourth, I mean, it's silly
Mhm.
because in the fourth you're going to be sitting there going, "Oh man, I don't want to take Cortland Sutton,"
Mhm.
and you don't.
Yeah.
So there's certain spaces where you want to take certain players.
Mhm.
And we'll be doing mock
Yep.
drafts soon and putting out some more
Oh,
lists
absolutely.
anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, we're on,
17.
17, yes.
I love Gus the Bus Edwards. I really do. He's going from a situation in Baltimore where he had John Harbaugh, and he's inheriting another Harbaugh in Jim Harbaugh in
Mhm.
the Los Angeles Chargers. Um, Everything right now points to him being the lead back.
Mhm.
I understand J.K. Dobbins is there. He'll probably be in scat relief, or
He's
we'll
also
see how
coming
that
off of major, major knee injury. I mean, that
we'll see
injury
how that
was
knee holds up.
nasty.
Right.
Yeah, that was nasty, that one that he got. And,
So
for everybody that forgets about Jim Harbaugh, if in case you don't follow college and you only remember him and you barely remember him from when he coached the Niners, is that guy loves to run the ball.
yep.
He loves to run the ball. He considers his linemen an offensive weapon. That's what he calls his linemen, an offensive weapon. So
Yep.
this guy loves to run the ball. He's taking 2 of his brother's running backs. He trusts his brother's decision making. He knows he's getting a couple studs. If Dobbins could come back healthy, that's the thing. But
Yeah.
even if not, Edwards is there, and Edwards will be the cash cow right there. I
And
totally agree with you.
and to me, he's going into a rich situation. So he's James Conner in a rich situation,
Mhm.
right? Like Gus Edwards last year. Oh, but Jack, he had 198 carries for 810 yards. Not fantastical, right?
No.
13 touchdowns, not going to change.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's not changing. That was, by the way, that was good for running back 23 last season.
But in his defense on the yardage and stuff, the Ravens are a different type of offense than most teams in NFL. They run a lot more options with Lamar Jackson. He
Mhm.
runs the heck out of the ball, so that's less carries from Gus Edwards right there. They like to run multiple running backs out of that system. That's another knock on him. Harbaugh's not like that. Harbaugh likes a cash cow. Harbaugh likes Jim. I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like somebody that will get you those 20 to 30 carries. That's what he had with Gore. He loved that with Gore.
Yeah, and Gus is a little bit like that's a great comparison. A little
Yeah.
bit like a Frank Gore. I just think he's gonna listen. Gus Edwards to me is gonna get 250 carries this year.
Yeah. I could see it. I could definitely see
230,
it.
250 in that little space. And you know, me putting him at 17, it could be completely wrong.
Mhm,
He could end up in the top 10. And
mhm.
because he's Gus Edwards and not, I don't know, Kyron Williams or Derrick Henry, it's just a name that you can't
Mhm,
let go of in that top 10.
mhm. Yeah,
Gus
yeah,
Edwards should be like, you guys should be drafting Gus Edwards, I'm telling you right now. And if you're not drafting Gus Edwards, just come over to our site. We'll help you get better at
And
fantasy
listen, when
football.
we say you should be drafting Gus Edwards, we don't mean with your first 2 round picks. We're not saying that. We understand there's gonna be multiple players out there. There's gonna be a couple other running backs. There's gonna be a couple more wide receivers. That's gonna be a better situation than Gus Edwards. But if you can find Gus Edwards sleeping down to the end of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th, and you need a running back or a running back 2, you might wanna think about taking him instead of that wide receiver.
If you went, if you go Jamar Chase, followed by Mike Evans, if he's around, I'm just
Mhm.
hypothetically, you could take Gus Edwards as your
Yeah.
one back. And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
and feel comfortable doing it.
and you can so this is what I said in my release show, right? You could take Gus Edwards because he's your touchdown guy
Mhm,
and draft an A chain as your yards guy.
mhm.
Now you have a perfect couple, right? A great running back marriage, if you will. Because the one
Mhm.
if A chain finds a touchdown, I mean we're throwing a party. But Gus is
Yeah.
going to
Mhm.
maybe not get you the yards.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I look at things. That's how I like to kind of pair things up, if you guys are
Mhm.
wondering.
And I think, Gus Edwards and depending on what league you're in, what type of league you're in. You run a league that, is an old school league. It's a
Mhm.
non-PPR league, and he would kill on a league like that because he's not gonna get those receptions. He's just gonna get those carries. He's just gonna get those touchdown carries. So, in a league like one of the leagues that you run in a non-PPR league, he might even be higher up on that list.
Well, so I have this, and it's a crazy idea, but I don't believe that there's this huge difference between PPR backs and bell cow goal line backs. Because
Mhm.
if I get a couple extra catches than your guy, okay, but your guy is guaranteed the goal line work. So doesn't it really? It's kind of even.
Kinda evens out.
It really does, and people
That's the way
pretend
I
like it
look at it.
doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, it does, it does.
You know, Gus Edwards had,
It's
you
like
know,
it's like back in the day. Are you gonna give up on somebody like, Priest Holmes, who was like a touchdown machine, but didn't get you 1,000 yards? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna pass up on that because he's not getting you 1,000 yards?
there's special cases, right? Because McCaffrey's kind of both.
Jerome Bettis. Are you gonna pass up on Jerome Bettis? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right,
So,
and there's special cases because Christian McCaffrey's both,
yes. Mhm,
but you don't have a lot of boats here. All right, moving on to 16,
mhm,
you're kinda getting a both here, but you're getting a both guy in a different circumstance, and that is Joe Mixon.
mhm.
You know, well, the only thing that concerns me about Joe Mixon is that there were a lot of teams, or frankly anybody, raising their hand for him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to stay in Cincinnati so badly. He was willing to take less money. And they were like, "Yeah, you know what? Nothing less, nothing more. It's been nice having you." And it's a little concerning, right?
Mhm,
That's a little concerning. Um, and like we have to look at Houston right now. And I don't think that it's insane to talk about them in this way, but I don't know what kind of leader CJ Stroud is. He
yeah.
had he had very quiet wide receivers last year and players around him, right? Nico Collins, Tank Dell, quiet guys. Got the
Mhm,
ball. CJ Stroud was able to operate how he wanted to.
mhm,
Now you're adding powder kegs in Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs.
mhm.
let's just if you were just having Diggs, fine. But now you're
Mhm.
getting Mixon and Diggs, and let's see how those personalities work together. And it's something to be said because if you're getting
Mhm.
one without the other, fine. But I mean, Diggs will sock you right in the mouth,
Yeah. Yep.
and
And
Mixon's known to have quite of a temper.
mhm. Well, I think Mixon ends up being yeah, he is gonna be the, cash cow on that offense. And with,
So
CJ Stroud throwing the ball around like he was to Diggs, to, Collins, to, what was I forget what their tight end's name was, but he was another weapon that they had. Uh,
Dalton Schultz.
but okay, yeah, Schultz, that's it, from, Dallas.
Yep.
I mean, I can't say he's gonna get a better situation than, the Bengals because, I mean, the Bengals, they were pass happy to begin with when they were healthy. But I think he's gonna be given a longer leash with the Texans than he was with the Bengals.
I mean, maybe it's just everybody needs a contract, right? Diggs needs a contract, Mixon needs a contract, and I
Mhm.
just if things start to not roll properly, we may be in for a little bit of drama in Houston.
In Houston.
You know,
Okay.
I don't know that to be 100% true, but I mean, we at least need to bring. So I've got Mixon at 16,
Mhm.
and
And to me, that's perfect.
you like
I
that
can
ranking.
honestly yes,
Okay.
I have never had Joe Mixon on any fantasy team I've ever had. I've always stayed away from him. Always. We've had this discussion, you and I, before because you've always not been high on Mixon, but you've always put him as a very serviceable, if not a little bit better serviceable back than I have.
Yeah, and I mean,
Um,
like, so let's
and
look.
listen, and you've been right. Every year you've been right when it comes to Mixon, so I can't knock you for it. I like where he's at. If that's where you have him, I like it. Um, he's just like you. There's just some names that just don't pop off for you, and he's always been that one for me.
What was it? Last year he had 257 carries, bell cow,
Mhm.
1,034 yards, fine. 9 touchdowns on the ground, 3 touchdowns through the air, adding another 376 receiving yards. I mean, like, what do you want?
Mhm. And
I
that
don't
was
know what.
without Burrow. I
Huh?
mean, Burrow was gone. That was without Burrow. Imagine
That's
if
what
Burrow was there. I mean, you might as well add a couple 100 more yards to that.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, as much as 16 might be too low, I mean, he could probably finish 9 or 10.
Mhm.
I just like situations up higher better than him, but that's where we
And
have
he
him.
usually does. He usually does finish in the top 10 in fantasy points, but I
He
don't
finished
give him the credit for that.
he finished 8 last year. He finished
Okay.
8.
Alright.
Yeah.
And you could probably go in years past too, and he's finished right there, except for a
Yeah.
couple injury years that he had, but for the most part, he's been a very healthy back. It's just me, I have never put that type of value on him, and I don't know why. It's not a name thing because I've drafted people without names before. It's just I've never been too high on him. But I'll give you credit. You've pounded the drum for him, several years, and, you've been right with it, so
I appreciate that. Sometimes you get lucky, right?
that for
Um
everyone you've been right, there's a Stevenson in there. I'm just saying.
Hey, look it. You gotta take your shots.
And
You gotta
listen,
take your shots.
I agree. Listen, you cannot still be one of those mainstream media people that just regurgitate the same stuff over and over, the same thing everybody else is saying. We all have our different opinions. Doesn't matter how wild they might be. Let's hear them. Let's
Yeah,
hear them. You
because
know, if you want to hear the same BS crap, turn into ESPN, turn into the NFL Network. You're going to hear the same stuff regurgitated over and over and over and over. Jack and I are here to kind of break that mold a little bit. We might have the same idea with a few of the players, but I guarantee our players are way different than those.
and it's different points, right? So
Mhm.
again, that's why as we're going through this, albeit maybe a little bit slowly, right? It gives you an opportunity to sit, relax, enjoy your Sunday, and digest some of the things that we're going through
And you're
because they're
hearing two
important.
different points on it. You're hearing
Doing it-
your
Yeah,
point
right.
on it, my point on it. So you're hearing the pros and the cons of the player.
Yes. At 15, I've got Alvin Kamara, and for
Mhm.
me, he every year he keeps sliding down the list. I don't love the team he's on.
Mhm.
I think he'll have opportunity, although Kendre Miller is going to eat into him a little bit more. Um, I, I don't think he trusts Derek Carr to not get him hit in the passing game.
Mhm.
And he's looking for a contract.
Yeah.
So always attitude issues with Kamara on and off the
Yep.
field.
Yep. I was just gonna say off the field issues with Kamara.
Produces on the field. I think he needed somebody like Drew Brees there.
Mhm.
Drew Brees is gone.
Mhm.
So I can't move him up any further. I actually will probably, depending on how these training camps start to work out, will move him down my list. That's how I'm
Okay.
feeling.
And I could see that. And I wanna, reiterate something that you said before is that he can't trust Derek Carr not to get him hit. If anybody looks at, Alvin Kamara's, points that he puts up and how they're broke down, he doesn't get them running the ball.
Sure.
He gets the points by catching the ball. If they wanna run the ball, they go to another running back. They wanna catch the ball. That's why that offense is kind of, you could kinda point out what they're doing. If Kamara's back there, chances are they're gonna pass the ball, and he's still one hell of a receiving back. And but again, he can't trust Derek Carr not to get him hit or injured.
You know, it'd be cool, just because this is fun, and then we could move on, right? What would be cool is if New Orleans went, we're done with Kamara. Okay, he's
Mhm,
not going to sign the contract, or we're out, we're over this. This would be cool if it happened the next couple weeks. This is kind of done, right? So, and the Denver Broncos don't like any of their backs,
yeah.
and Kamara can reunite with Sean Payton.
Ooh, I like that.
Ah, now we've
Yeah,
got juice, right?
yeah,
Because he
yeah. No, I
trusts
like that.
Payton to put him in plus situations.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there will be no question mark. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He trusts
Yeah.
Sean Payton.
Yes. Yeah.
So now we've got Alvin Kamara back with the guy that drafted him, putting him in winning situations,
Mhm.
tiring people out up in Mountain High, up in
Mile high.
Denver, up
Yep.
in Mile High Stadium.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Listen, I love that. I love that. I think personally that would be Kamara's ultimate best destination slash thing that could happen to him. If that could happen to him, that would be like him winning the lottery.
Yeah.
It really would. It would 1, rejuvenate his career. 2, he would automatically become Denver's number 1 back.
Help out a rookie caller.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's not too much that Jack says that I could say I stand 100% behind. I might stand behind him 80, 90% of the time, but
Oh,
this is something, yeah, I 100%, I was standing in your shadow with this one.
that's cool though. That would be
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah, no,
really
yeah. No, I love it. I absolutely love it. I
all
absolutely
right. So we
that
got to
that
get Kamara's
I
agents.
like that just like I liked, Mozart going to, the Dolphins with Mike McDaniels. I love it.
Right.
I love it. He was the run game coordinator, Mike McDaniels was for the 49ers. He's the one that got Kamara the yardage, or not sorry, Kamara, got, Mozart the yardage.
Yeah.
He follows McDaniels to Dolphins, and he still keeps a good career. I love it. I love it. I love it the same way that like I said, that I love the whole McDaniels and, Mozart thing.
And you guys might be sitting out there going, well, but what about Javonte Williams?
What
I'm
about?
hearing Javonte Williams is not going to make the team.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Jaleel
a good
McGee
strong suit.
or Jaleel McLaughlin is
Yeah.
is beating him out in whatever minis right now.
Mhm.
So there's nothing really. There's nothing in Denver,
Mhm.
and I know that Denver doesn't have the assets. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they're trying to move on from Courtland Sutton. That I know because
Yeah,
they can't sign him to a long-term deal. So they're trying to move on from him, put him in a trade package deal, which I don't know why you would move on with Sutton. They already moved on from Jerry Jeudy. Jared
he
Jeudy.
wants to rebuild everything.
But, I get it, but you can't throw away everything until you have somebody to replace that.
Well, all this would be though. All we're suggesting with this is a rebuild with some familiarity.
Yes, I agree. Hmm.
right? So, okay, I'd like to rebuild my house a little bit, right? I like to update it. And what we're going to do is we're going to call a contractor that we've done business with before.
Yes.
Because although some of my ideas are a little out there and wacky,
Hmm.
he'll understand how to make them a reality
Yes. Hmm.
for our fantasy.
Yes. Love it.
But yeah, that would be great. That'll be awesome. That's my 20 through 15. And we'll just release
Okay.
stuff every Sunday for you guys
Yeah. Yep.
until we get down to the top 5.
Next Sunday we will have a designated spot just for training camp news because we will be fully blown into training camp. So we'll have some news for you there on any type of newsworthy stuff happening.
Okay. All right.
Unfortunately, we can't cover every single team in the NFL for camp news, even though I would love to. It's just we would have to do a whole podcast on that. We wouldn't be able to talk about anything else. But for anything newsworthy, we will bringing that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to take care of highlights. You don't want to hear the left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals really looks like he's moving his feet quickly today.
Well, listen, if you're somebody like Jim Harbaugh, you want to hear that, you know?
Well,
Like, hey, that's an offensive weapon.
Our weapon, I'll tell you what. Do you know how fast his toes are? No, and no one cares. You're
Listen,
weird.
People might say that and laugh about that, but I was watching a highlight a couple days ago of Trent Williams going in motion, the big left tackle for the 49ers, still regarded as one of the best left tackles in the league. Dude, that guy can move. He looked like a tight end in motion. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like the
Oh my
agility on how big this guy is and the agility that he still has, it's amazing. Guy's almost 40 years old and he's still doing it.
So we talked about carries moving up and carries moving down for certain running backs here, right? Ramondre Stevenson, better opportunity because Ezekiel Elliott is back in Dallas, right? We talked about, James Conner will probably get goal line carries, A-Chain more carries depending on, his health. Gus the Bus, almost in a Jerome Bennis like area. And my question is, and my segue as well, do you think analytics are ruining sports?
I think to a degree. I thought initially when it first started with baseball, I was like, and then they started introducing into football, and I liked it even less. But as I got older, and it's been around now for a few years, I believe this started back when we were in NFL anyways with the analytics, back when we were at Outback together. I
Yep.
believe is when we first started hearing about analytics in football.
Mhm.
And I didn't like it then. But as time has gone through and over time, and I learned a little bit more about it, I put it in as another weapon in your arsenal. I don't hang my hat on analytics. I will never hang my hat on analytics, but I think it's something that's part of the process. You can't ignore it.
I agree, but I think what analytics ends up doing is leaving stadiums a little bit more empty over time.
Mhm.
I think it
Okay.
ends up emptying out because what happens is that I don't know as a fan that you played 3 games in a row. I've got a
Mhm.
wife, I've got kids, I've got a family. I
Mhm.
bought tickets to go see this game.
Yes.
And you, the player, have one job really,
Mhm.
right? It's to keep your body healthy to continue to play.
Yes.
Okay, I bought tickets to watch you play 4 quarters, 30 some minutes, X amount of innings, all this stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, just because you've performed so well and your team is up, I just want to see you on the court. It's my only opportunity to watch you play.
Mhm.
And analytics over time hasn't proven to be better or worse for the player. We've had a little bit of because here's the way I look at things. You've got as an athlete 3 phenomenal years that will sell your whole career.
Yes.
I don't care about 10 pretty good years. It doesn't matter. LeBron James as a Laker has been terrible.
Mhm.
early Cleveland, mid Cleveland, Miami. I mean, he was a world beater.
Yeah.
This has tarnished his legacy.
I wouldn't
It's
say
made him look
tarnished
lesser.
it.
It's made him look lesser.
But he did win a championship there. He did bring another championship to the Lakers. So, I mean,
It
you can't say that it made him look worse. I mean, it made him look a little bit better because he won one more championship. He has
He
what,
was
5 now?
coddled at Disney, and they put him in a bubble.
Mhm.
That
No,
was his
I get
championship.
it. Listen, I get it, but it's still an NBA championship.
It's okay to get old and ride off into the sunset because our memories are of what you were. I can't get behind his name is Paul Screen, right? Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher, made the All-Star game. He's awesome.
Mhm.
But just a couple weeks ago, he had 99 pitches through the 7th inning. He's a young kid. No hitter. Perfect game going. They pulled him.
Yeah.
They ruined the game for the fans. They ruined a
Yeah,
potential record, and they ruined a great moment for a kid based on
yeah.
analytics. Oh,
Mhm.
but he could blow his arm out. Says who?
Mhm.
No one says he could blow his arm out. Nolan Ryan did that for 20 years. You didn't know
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan. And if you played the analytics game with Nolan Ryan, he wouldn't have had much of a career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The Nolan Ryan, half of it's all folklore.
Mhm.
Nolan Ryan was a failed pitcher for the New York Mets, and then eventually was sent out to the Los Angeles or the California Angels, where he put up crazy seasons, and then he was traded down to Houston and eventually a Texas Ranger. But had they not allowed him to pitch obscene amount of innings and get stupid strikeouts, we wouldn't even know of Nolan Ryan.
Mhm.
You know, half of Jimmy Butler's folklore is that he can play this stupid amount of minutes and still be good for the next game.
Yeah.
I think that when you coddle athletes, you hurt the fans' experience. I don't care if he needs to take the day off. No, he doesn't.
Mhm.
I really do believe that we've gone too far. And by the way, when you get to the top of them, or when you're heading up the mountain, right, in any career,
Mhm.
I want to watch the struggle because I struggle.
Mhm.
And if you're having a tough game and you overcome it and you win,
Yeah, we like seeing somebody persevere. Mhm.
we like seeing that.
Yes.
I don't wanna see the coach pull you out because, "Oh, we're down by 10 with 3 minutes to go, and we probably won't." What are
Mhm.
we doing?
Yeah.
It's
The only
ruining
time
the
I think
product.
the only time I think that what that particular situation should be done is if the, player is older. No reason to keep them in there, potentially getting hurt. Just pull them out. Now, where I agree with you is a younger guy. I want a younger guy in there. I want to see how he acts around adversity. Being down by 10, being down by 20. Are you still going to make those throws? Or are you just giving up on the game? I want somebody that's going to stay in there and compete. I don't care if you're down by 30 or if you're up by 30. I want you in there competing.
Yeah, I mean, was it, Austin Riley, an Atlanta Braves first baseman, he had some type of knee soreness, and I understand, and Austin plays a ton of games, but
Mhm.
the story's not so much about him, it's more about Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman called him up, he goes, "Dude, are you really not gonna play?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I have some knee soreness." He goes, "Come on, man." He goes, "You waited for that spot. Now it's yours. Don't let some other first baseman come in. I wouldn't have let you."
Yeah. Mhm.
I just to me, analytics is ruining the storylines.
Mhm.
It's, down by 10 with 2 minutes to go. Why would you take your best player out? Because you might not win?
Mhm. And
I can't get on with it.
is players getting softer too. Like, they're not fighting for that. They're not going up to I remember back in the day, a player would get into a coach's face for taking him out of a game.
Right. Now they're asking for it.
Yeah.
"Hey, why
They're
aren't you
getting
taking me out?" "What do
softer.
you mean? You don't remember when you used to sit on the bench and not get any time." You
Yes.
know, they would ask, "Who doesn't like it?" But we respect all the guys that wanna play more, by the way.
Mhm.
Tom Brady would straight up argue with Bill Belichick to play
Oh, yeah.
preseason games.
Yep. Mhm.
And Bill go, "Tom, you know you're not gonna win this argument."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, you have to explain to me why."
Mhm.
And they would find some kind of medium ground. He's like, "All right, well, I'll play you the last 2 games in the 3rd quarter."
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Right, and
I
and
just
that's one of those things that, like, you don't want, especially in a preseason game, like, somebody like Tom Brady getting hurt, like, it's a preseason game. Preseason is there to fill out your roster, to see what your 2nd, 3rd stringers are gonna be, what your practice squad players are gonna be. It's not to see you most of the time, it's not to see who your starting quarterback is gonna be. I I
Right.
I admit there is sometimes that you have certain, teams you have camp battles.
Broncos
You
fans.
need Yeah, you need to see your quarterback in a little bit of a game situation, even though it's preseason. I get that. But if you're a team that already set at quarterback, already set at your running back position, there's no sense of bringing those guys out in the preseason. Give them a couple quarters, maybe final 2 preseasons of you can't even say that anymore. There's only 3 preseason games, not 4. You wanna see them action 2nd preseason game, I don't have an issue with that. But other than that, there's no reason to march them out there in a preseason game.
Let's have a fun scenario though, because that's what we like, right? So
We love it.
let's say screens pitches, right? And before the All-Star game, he throws as a rookie a perfect game in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh. I mean, that's crazy. That's a great story. If he throws out his arm, like he throws out his arm, but it's still a better story than they pulled him in the 7th with 99 pitches. Brother, he was still throwing 101, gunning
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Tom Brady will do the opposite. Tom Brady's year 14, wants in the preseason game, gets in a preseason game. He gets smashed and he limps off the field. You're like, well, Jack, what is that? That's still a storyline. And by the
Mhm.
way, when, not if, he's ready for week 1, because he'll do everything in his power, he
Oh, yeah.
rises up like a hero.
Mhm.
Like that's to me, that's what it is. Right? It's you're on the gridiron, right? You're in the arena.
Mhm.
Those are the real moments we live for. Right? We go to work the next day and go, "Hey, did you see what happened last night?"
Water cooler talk. That's what sports is built around, water
"Hey, did you
cooler
see what
talk.
happened last night?" Scream. They pulled him with 99 pitches in the 7th inning. He had a perfect game.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
got nothing.
Mhm.
It's boring and it sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
I wish we can go back to having coaches not kill the player, but push their players a little bit further than what their analytics tell them, because they
Mhm.
haven't made it the game better.
Yeah. And I think it analytics is more of a problem in baseball than any other sport, if it is a problem. All right. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that it's to me, it's part of the process. But if you really want to point out where it possibly could be a problem, it's baseball. Like you said, pulling the pitcher out too early, doing this too early, doing that too early. I think football analytics is part of the decision making on bringing a player in or drafting a player. But during the game, I don't think that they too much care about analytics. I'm not saying every team, there might be an Oakland A's football team out there that's the way they run their team is strictly through analytics. But for the most part, they still football is still played with the eye test.
Well, so what's crazy is like baseball, they'll go, "Oh, he gave up a hit and he's at 25 pitches. Oh, it's time to no. Net
Yeah.
not look at what you're trying to do is get 40 pitches out of a guy that throws 25. Give him a
Mhm.
little run, right? Go with the old guys used to go with their guts,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And every single pitcher, by the way, now thinks that once you come out to talk to him, he's gone.
Yeah.
Stop that. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Go out there and go, "Hey, what's going on? How we
Yeah.
feeling?" Right?
Mhm.
Have a conversation with them. Go, "I still believe in your stuff.
Yeah.
We gave up
Yep.
the first hit in the past 3 innings that we've given
Mhm.
up. I'm not worried about you. Go
Yeah.
out there, finish this inning, and if you feel strong and you're honest with me, you got another one."
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Now
Everybody needs to be honest with each other. Like coaches need to be honest, or managers, coaches, whatever you want to call them, need to be honest with the player when they go out to them. And the pitcher needs to pitcher or the position player needs to be honest with the coach and not be afraid of losing their job for being honest.
Because what starts happening is this, right? I throw a pitch. 1, 2. God, this guy followed off a couple of my pitches. That's 8 pitches. I know I only have 25. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah.
You're already in the guy's head because he knows he only has 25 pitches.
Yep. And now he starts forcing pitches in that he shouldn't be forcing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it makes the games more watered down.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Especially, like I said, especially baseball. You don't really see it at all in basketball. Really at all in basketball. Football, you see it here and there. But
You've
with
got guys in
football,
basketball taking a day off though, and it's like, what are we taking
that's
off
them,
for?
though. That's them. That's not the team saying, "All right, analytics say that you should be taking this day off." That's that's that player saying, "Listen, I'm tired. I'm taking the day off." That's that's not the way old school players used to do it. They're like, "No, that's our job. We're there to play." Well, I can't just take a day off with pay.
It's crazy.
It's not the way it works. Like, I need to be at work every single day. If you are a player, you need to be at work every single day. If you can't be in the game because you are hurt, you still need to be at work every single day, but rehabbing instead of playing the game. But you need
I
to
better
be
not
at
see a
work
Big
every
Mac in your
single day.
mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to see you on the training table with your knee up on the freaking table eating a freaking Big Mac. I don't want to see that.
Joel Embiid. I'm just that's what he likes. All right. Now that I got my my little bit out of the way, I couldn't take it anymore. Seeing real guys that have, do you think analytics would have saved Steven Strasburg's career? No.
No.
And the very fact that you think that you're treating Steven Strasburg's career like Paul Screen's is out of control.
Mm-hmm. There's just certain pitchers that are going to have a longer career no matter what. And there's other pitchers that are going to have a short career no matter what. Doesn't matter. Their throwing style is their throwing style. Can you change it a little bit to prolong their career? Yes, but you do that in detriment to their game too. So
right.
What you do is kind of like the NFL did with running backs for years. You just run the hell out of them until they can't run anymore. You do the same thing with pitchers. You pitch them until they can't pitch anymore. They're done.
Like, what would you rather see? A guy have a fantastical 3-year run and then his career ends in 8 years?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you rather see a guy play for 20 years and never have like this insane peak?
Yeah. Something that everybody's talking about.
Pedro Martinez had 2 seasons where he was unhittable.
Yeah.
And would throw at batters and they'd do nothing because they knew he'd throw at them again. Nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd rather that than this, we take him out because he pitched 85 pitches. This is insane.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree. I don't like that, just like I don't like players resting.
Quick hits, Greg.
Quick hits. Let's see.
Here we go.
Let's Brandon Ayuk.
Segments.
Brandon Ayuk. Again, we are back to this, revisiting it. He has officially requested a trade. We found that out last week. Some more news has come out. Niners aren't budging right now. But Brandon Ayuk wants out. Latest news is Deebo Samuel's possibly being traded, so they have room to sign Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What's your thought on that? Now the rumor is Deebo Samuel to Pittsburgh.
I mean, Deebo Samuel at Pittsburgh would help Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Any team he goes to, it's going to help him. Just put it out there
I think in Pittsburgh's a hard nose. They're called the steel workers, because of the steel workers, right? Hard nose, grinded out, smash mouth football. That's Pittsburgh. That's Deebo Samuel. Mm-hmm. He makes Russell Wilson's job much easier in year one. Mm-hmm. All these things right there are obvious. Here's what I think happened with Ayuk. I think that, again, John Lynch is making mistakes. I think Ayuk had the conversation with him. And again, I'm not privy to what they talked about, but they had the conversation. Ayuk went to the media and said, look, I've got no contract extension right now, but I want to be a 49er. And I think with that, with that explanation to the media, Ayuk was also promised a phone call directly from John Lynch,
Mm-hmm.
for which he got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ayuk went, man, it's been 2 weeks. Not a phone call, not a note, not a text message. You know what? That was disingenuous. I'm gonna let them know that I'm done here. And all you had to do was call him and tell him you were working on it, and you didn't do it. That's my guess. Because any person in their right mind would give you a certain amount of time, and then they're mad.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you come to me with another contract, you better have a real conversation with me, because the mad doesn't necessarily go away.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the water makes, erosion makes the rock softer.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't get rid of the initial point, the anger that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think Ayuk is. Ayuk said it and meant it.
Okay.
I don't know. You gotta be able to reel him back, but I don't know if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, you wouldn't be happy with how he's being treated if it was you.
No. Okay. This is my take on the whole situation. I think both sides are playing hardball right now. I think when it's all said and done, nobody's feelings are going to be hurt. It's going to be, this is just pure business what's happening right now. Ayuk is getting tired of, all right, nothing is budging here. We're at a stalemate. So I'm going to force my hand and do everything I can to get the ball moving a little bit quicker, whether it's me getting out of here or me getting a new contract. I personally think John Lynch is like, listen, we have his rights for the next 3 years. If he wants to play hardball, we'll play hardball. We want him to be happy here. But ultimately we're here to win a Super Bowl. We're not trading you. Show up for camp. We'll still work out a contract. We'll still negotiate. But ultimately, we're not going to overpay for you. This is what we're offering you. If you don't want to take it, that's fine. You don't have to take it. But we're not releasing you and we're not trading you. So
Yeah.
you can either A, take what we're going to give you, be disgruntled a little bit if you want, speak your mind, we don't care. But you either A, take what we're going to give you, or B, you're just going to suffer for the next 3 years. And by what I mean, by the people that don't understand what I'm saying for the next 3 years, is that this year he's under contract for this year, 5th-year option. The following year, they can franchise tag him. He has to sign that. If he doesn't sign it, and then he just doesn't play for a year. But ultimately, the Niners still control him. Now, after that year, if he doesn't play, the Niners could be pricks and say, listen, we're going to franchise tag you again. You didn't sign the first option. You set out a year. We're not going to let you go to another team. Sign the franchise option or sign the contract for year 3. This is 3 years down the road from now, which will be not quite what we were going to offer you, but it's still up there. And then you become a free agent the following year. Do you want to do that? Do you want to go through those 3 years like that just to become a free agent? Or do you just want to sign a 3-4 year deal with us? And then at the end of that, do you want to become a free agent?
And that's how a team slowly becomes the New York Giants or New England Patriots. Because what happens is talent won't want to go there. So you better draft. You better be a monster through the draft.
I agree with that.
Make a draft mistake, you're getting nobody.
What makes the difference between us and them is we've paid our players. We have paid everybody that has come up between Bosa, Kittle, Debo, Trent Williams, everybody that has come up, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, everybody that has come up in that pecking order, they have gotten their money. They just needed to wait for their money. And that's all Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to wait. That's the problem. And I listen, I can't disagree with him. He wants to make sure he's taken care of. Once he signs that extension, he's only going to get the 14-point-something million this year. That's all he's going to get, no matter what his contract is. That's all he's going to make this year. what he's going to sign, what he's signing is an extension that
Right.
starts next year.
So
But what picks up is that guaranteed money. Say he gets hurt this year, that guaranteed money on that new contract kicks in. So therefore,
Brandon
so I get it.
is Brandon Ayuk a better player than Justin Jefferson?
No,
Is he better than Amon-Ra St. Brown?
comparable.
I think he's better athlete than Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You know,
And I think he knows he's a better athlete than. See, my point is that Detroit went, yeah, that's the market. We're just going to get this out of the way.
mhm.
And Minnesota went, I mean, we're being silly here. We didn't pay Dalvin Cook because we knew we blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting there going, I'm better than Mon-Ra.
Mhm.
Okay, Justin Jefferson, I don't want to have the argument, but I mean, if we want to do 40 verts and all this other stuff, I can compare.
Mhm.
You know, so he's sitting there going, it was really easy for everybody else. What's so difficult here?
What
Because you got a quarterback under a rookie contract,
Mhm.
right? And Detroit doesn't.
Ayuk's way of thinking, and he's come out and said this on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark. He's like, 81% of my catches either went for touchdowns or first downs. 81% of my receptions went for either touchdowns or first downs. Let me repeat that. 81% of my catches went for touchdowns or first downs. We were one of the least throwing teams in the league. And I still had 75 yards or 75 catches and over 1,000 yards receiving. And again, 81% of my catches went for touchdowns or first downs. Where are you going to replace that? Pay me for what I'm worth, and it better be up in the upper echelon. So that's what he's thinking. And I have to agree with him. I didn't hear that stat. I did not hear that stat until earlier this week, and I could not wait to our podcast to bring this out. I didn't put it in any of my posts throughout the week. I didn't put it in any of Fantasy Farms posts throughout the week because I wanted to save it for our podcast.
No, I mean, that's great.
That is a crazy, crazy number.
And again, it's not so much what he's doing. It's the difficulty of in which the 49ers are putting themselves, because these athletes don't not just talk. They talk.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
they talk to each other a lot.
Right. So, hey, would you rather go to San Francisco or, Detroit made it pretty easy for Amon-Ra to get signed. How about we just go there and, see if they'll pay us in a couple years?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a real conversation. That's probably, hey, Minnesota's got a little bit more cap room under Justin Jefferson, and they like paying.
Mhm.
Hey, man, like paying's a good place to be.
Mhm.
I'm going to produce. Do you like paying?
But again, the Niners do like paying. They have in the past. It just takes a little bit of time. And that's what people don't get. They think that his contract is done this year and like he needs to sign a new one. No, he has a whole nother year to play before he's eligible for a new contract. The Niners are just negotiating out of good faith. And that's what most teams do. They negotiate at that fifth-year option out of good faith. It doesn't negate that fifth-year option. They're still under that fifth-year option. They're just negotiating for the next year out of good faith.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm starting to think he's going to get traded.
Up until if this would have happened last year, or last year, 2 years ago, with the whole Deebo Samuel thing, I thought for sure he was getting traded. Thought for sure. If I had to bet money on it, you always say bet your house picks.
That's right.
I would have bet my house he would have been on another team. That's how much I thought he was gone. That everything I have seen, everything I heard, everything came out of his mouth, everything that's coming out of the team's mouth, everything that's rumors around the league pointed he was being traded. Didn't end up happening. They ended up signing a good deal. He had a better year last year than he did the year he signed the contract. But they got the deal done. So I still am holding out hope and think they will get a deal done. It's just that Niners like to play a little bit of hardball with their players. And they've done it with everybody. They did it with Bosa after a 19.5 sack year. Like he almost broke the record for sacks. You know, like they did it with him. They did it with Debo. They did it with Kittle. They did it with Trent Williams. They do it with a lot of players. And it's not that they don't value them. They know they have a year to get a deal done. So if it's not done right away, it's not alarming for them. It might be alarming for us, might be alarming for the player that they're negotiating with. But for them as an organization, they're like, listen, we'll get the deal done. We're not worried about that, but we're going to get it done on our own time.
It's just so easy to, and Buffalo actually proved it. Out of every team, Buffalo paid for Stephon Diggs.
And
And
they
then
needed to, because they needed somebody there for Allen to grow,
That's right.
to take that next step. And same thing with Ayuk, with Purdy. Like he took that next step because of Ayuk.
That's why I'm saying this.
One of the great things about Purdy is his anticipation of throwing the ball. The reason why he has great anticipation is because he knows where his wide receivers are going to be, because they're good route runners. You bring somebody in there that's not as a good a route runner, that likes to make things up on the fly. All right, I'm not going to run the slant. I'm going to run a slant and an up. And they're not on the same page with the quarterback. The quarterback's thinking you're running a slant and you're doing something else. Then the quarterback's not looking good. You're looking better, but your quarterback's not looking good anymore. Your quarterback, same thing with Brady. Brady needed to know that you're going to be there. He got rid of the ball before you were there. And
so
that's
that's
what Purdy does.
My point is, sign him to a ridiculous contract. He wants that. Okay. But you don't have to pay the whole ridiculous contract, because Buffalo proved that. As long as he still looks good, you can move him somewhere else in 4 years. I just did the math for everybody. Like and that's what everybody's doing now, because there are teams out there like, oh, I don't know. What's your worst team in football?
Carolina.
Okay.
The Panthers.
There are teams out there like Carolina that need an Adam Thielen towards the end. Okay. And they would be lucky enough to get a Brandon Ayuk in 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That came from a winning organization that they're only going to pay $25 million of the rest of his guarantee. And like, players aren't blind to the eye of how things are done now too. So I just kind of think that, at the end of the day, he's sitting there going, I'm kind of done here. And we've worked for organizations where you get to that point.
Yeah, I find it hard not to believe it in the back of his head, or even other players calling him up and say, listen, we're not trying to tell you what to do, but they will take care of you. They took care of me. They have a track record of taking care of their players. They don't have a track record of not negotiating in good faith. They don't have a track record of trading away their players. They don't have a track record of releasing. They have a track record, the 49ers, of signing their players, but signing their players in their own time.
I'm telling you, Washington's going to be the spot.
First.
Hey, he's going to end up in Washington.
And listen, if he ends up in Washington, they better freaking bring that house to us. I want either Scary Terry, I want Samuel, one of those guys, plus draft picks. I want your first, I want your second, and I want your third. If you're Washington, you want my guy that bad? You want Jalen Daniels sending him practice tape? I want your first, second, and third pick. If not, give me your first and second, and give me Scary Terry.
Well, that's fine. That worked out for Buffalo just fine.
I'm just saying, like, if you want to go that route, you better blow me away, because
they won't give a first. They won't give you a first because they're giving you a first. They're giving you Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin's a first.
Is he a first?
He is a first.
I don't.
He's a late round first, but he's a first. Huh?
Is he?
Last year was still good. Last year was still good behind Sam Howell.
I admit he was fast and he was good, but he wasn't. He's never been Brandon Ayuk good.
Well, he's never had a guy throwing in the ball.
Well, I mean, you could say Brandon Ayuk didn't have anybody really until Purdy, and a lot of people won't even give Purdy the respect that he deserves.
I would argue that when Jimmy G
Yeah,
cared a
he
little
had
more, Jimmy G was fine.
he was okay. He was serviceable. And then you
I
had
mean,
Nick Mullins, and then you had,
he gave you 325 a game and 3
you know,
touchdowns.
and 4 picks, you know?
Jimmy G?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I do. I do. I do. Uh,
What else we
there
got for
is a
quick hits?
reason there let me finish it off. There is a reason why when we played the Minnesota Vikings in the playoff game that we threw the ball 5 times. Is because the previous game before that, Jimmy Garoppolo almost lost us the game by throwing 3 picks. So Shanahan was like, "Screw this. We're just gonna run the hell out of Mostert." And that's what they did. They ran
Mhm.
the hell out of Mostert against, Minnesota Vikings, crushed Minnesota, didn't need to throw the ball hardly at all. They barely threw the ball at all throughout the rest of the playoffs because of Jimmy G. I listen, when we first signed Jimmy G, I was ecstatic. We were moving on from, Beathard, and I forget who else they had. So believe me, I was ecstatic when we brought him in. I still was, thinking of the Jimmy G back when he was taking over for Tom Brady, like the little flash that he showed before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he was very serviceable for a couple years, so I'm not knocking him. But when it came time for him to be the quarterback and for him to carry the team, he proved that he couldn't carry a team. He was nothing more than a piece on a good team.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, I
won
agree.
in spite of him, I should say. So that's all I'm saying about that.
Alright.
My when it's all said and done, I strongly believe Ayuk will still be on the team.
Okay. I think he's gone.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. And I'm not saying it as a fan. And everybody knows, I mean, you could look behind me. I love the 49ers. I bleed red and gold. I love them. There's the only thing that's more important to me than my 49ers is my family. My family and then 49ers. That's it. I like 49ers. Over a job, I like the 49ers. Put it that way. All
I
right.
like
So I'm not saying it as a diehard fan. I'm saying it as a person that's able to step back and give my honest opinion and look at the 49ers track record on what they did with previous players and strongly believe that they will get a deal done.
I think they'll wanna pay him. I think the price just went up.
It definitely went up. We went from offering him where we wanted was 26 million. He wants 30. 30,
No,
31
his
is
no,
what
no,
he
no. I think his price just went up.
wants. Okay.
I just think and, you know, you could just be like, "Well, that's" it's like, "Dude, I if I don't wanna be somewhere, you're gonna have to pay me more to be there." And
I don't think it's that he doesn't wanna be here. I think this is him playing hardball. That's
I
what
think
I
John
think.
Lynch ticked him
Now,
off.
do I think that he wants to play with Jalen Daniels? Yeah, everything points to, yeah, he would love to play with Jalen Daniels. But ultimately, you're winning with the 49ers, and I think that trumps what he has with Jalen Daniels.
You know, before John Lynch was, before he was in San Francisco, wasn't he in the higher up brass in Denver?
No, he was a announcer for the games. But what he did do was John Elway called him up the one time and said, "Listen, can you do me a favor? Like you used to be a safety and you're an all-time great Hall of Famer. Can you like just go through the safeties and kind of write down a few points that you like on this year's draft coming out?" Well,
Okay.
John Lynch was like, "Yeah, of course." Well, John Lynch did such a good job, like diving deep into like every little thing possible with these safeties that the following year Elway asked him to expand his role and asked him to do a whole write up on the defensive class coming out into that draft. Well, he nailed that too, nailed it out of the park. And John Lynch sat back and said, "You know what? I like this. I like what I'm doing. I think I can do something as far as help run a team. That's something I think I would like to do." And there was rumors of Shanahan taking over for the 49ers. He hasn't
Yeah.
accepted the job yet or anything, but there was
Okay.
rumors. And John Lynch was like, I could see myself working with somebody like Shanahan, like a brilliant mind coming up, first year coach. I think we could work good together. So he took a chance and picked up the phone and he called Shanahan. He's like, "Listen, I know you didn't take the job or anything. I know it's rumors, you're thinking about it, but and you guys are talking about you need another GM. just keep me in mind. You know, if that's something that you would like, you know, just keep me in mind. You know, it's something I would like to do. And he
Yeah.
kind of made his case on what he did with the Denver. Well, Shanahan sat back and he thought about it for a little bit. And Lynch said within 2 days, he gets a call from Shanahan. No idea that it was going to be about this. Just got a brief call from him. He goes, listen, I thought about what you said, and I say, let's do this. He goes, I want you to take a meeting with Jed York. And was within a week time that he had a meeting. So John Lynch's like, yeah, he took the meeting with Jed York. Shanahan was there, and they both decided to let's do this. Let's make this marriage happen. And that's the background. He was on the Pat McAfee show. John Lynch was. So he told the whole story, and and you know me, I geeked out over that story. I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, getting a little behind the scenes thing. So that's the story he told.
I'd
So
be
I just
very
wanted to
careful
reiterate it to
negotiating with the
everybody.
guy. I'd be very careful negotiating with a guy who was close friends with John Elway.
Yeah, you know.
That's my only thing. I don't, you know, John Elway is not the greatest upfront negotiator, and this feels like an Elway tactic to me.
Again, you have to look at the 49ers history, their track.
No, I'm not worried about the money anymore.
You know,
like let's if we put the money aside, you said you were going to call me back. You didn't.
Yeah.
After I went on national TV, I said,
they did, but no, they did have a meeting. They had a meeting after that. They had a meeting after that Pivot podcast. After that Pivot podcast, he went to that meeting with Jalen Daniels. That's the meeting they had after the Pivot podcast. So they had a meeting. They just haven't had any phone talks since that meeting.
Yeah.
But that meeting happened after everything came out publicly. After he was on the Pivot podcast, we had a good faith meeting with him. There just hasn't been any talk since then because nobody wants to budge at all. But where I think it starts moving is once training camp starts. That's where the needle started moving with Deebo Samuel, is when training camp started. That's kind of training camp is kind of the bell when it comes to boxing. You know, like ding, 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 the round has started. You know, that's kind of training camp when it comes to late negotiations.
That's a great analogy.
All right.
Actually. Yeah. I like that.
All right. The round has started. Now let's see who's knocking out who.
Yeah, because by the third round, you better have it figured out.
Yes, by third week in the training camp, you better have it figured out. If not, there's going to be issues. So, yeah, I totally agree with you when it comes to that. If it goes into 3 weeks in the training camp, I mean, there was rumors that Bosa wasn't even going to play the whole year when that whole negotiation was happening. He was going to sit out the whole year. So, if it goes 3 weeks into it, you're going to see me get a little bit worried. Up until then, no worries here.
I'm rooting for 3 weeks.
As they say in the Outback, no worries, mate.
Oh, no worries, huh? What's our other quick hits we have you sent me?
Quick hits. One thing I want to talk to you, and I want to get your opinion, because I feel like the last 2 to 3 years, this has been happening. And I want to see if you have any ideas to spruce it up a little bit. The home run derby. When we were younger, everybody loved the home run derby. They could not wait. The home run derby was bigger than the All-Star game. Me growing up. That's how it was. It was huge. You want to talk about water cooler talk? That was water cooler talk. The next day, we were talking about the home run derby. I couldn't even find a home run derby article wrote until you posted something.
Yeah.
What's going on? What is your thoughts when it comes to home run derby? You think it lost its luster? You think that there's something they could do to bring it back, or you think it's kind of just dead?
Well, no, because it was. Here's the problem. It's very simple, right? The MLB, Major League Baseball, invites players to take place in the home run derby, and then you have the as the player, you have the option to accept or decline.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this works, because the Yankees are employees of Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the team now employs the player.
Correct.
So if I'm Major League Baseball, I'm gonna go, hey, Aaron Judge, you're the New York Yankees, you're the leading home run hitter in Major League Baseball. You're being in the home run derby.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd make the same phone call to the Dodgers because Otani's number 2. Here's what
Mhm.
it should be. It should be the top 5 guy or it should be the top 10 guys who have hit home runs so far
Love
in the
it.
home run
Love
derby.
it. Love it.
Okay, we like this so far, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because what has happened is the only guys that are participating are the guys that haven't made major bucks. So
Mhm.
your number 1 home run hitter was or your number 1, the guy who had hit the most home runs was Gunnar Henderson
Mhm.
from the Orioles.
Yes.
But he's not a multimillionaire yet, or,
Mhm.
maybe he is, but he hasn't gotten the huge contract. So it's all the guys that are doing their best to sell themselves. The Alec
Mhm.
Bombs, the, Toscana,
Mhm.
the kid from the Dodgers that nobody really knows about, who's 30, who ended up winning it.
Yeah.
And he's having a great year, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
right? The Jose Ramirez, right? All these guys. But if you don't have the top 2 guys who have hit the home runs throughout the season in the home run derby, uh, what are we doing? You don't have
It's
Otani. You don't have Judge. You don't have
so
anything.
mhm. So basically, they're suffering the same situation that the slam dunk contest happened in the, NBA,
It's
is that
analytics.
nobody cares about it anymore because
It's
the
analytics.
stars aren't there. The last time, like, it was great is back, Vince Carter and stuff, You had superstars doing it. You don't have that anymore. So you're saying the home run derby is suffering the same thing then?
It is a little bit, because again, teams are asking players to take part in it, and they're saying, "Well, my wrist is a little sore, this, that," and at the end of the day, Pete Alonso took part in it, right? He's
Mhm.
won home run derbies before, but the Mets aren't having this monster year, so he's still trying to work through his brand. And if we're
Mhm.
being honest, Alonso's the second brand in New York to Judge,
Mhm.
right? And to me, I think that Aaron Judge and Otani need to be in there because now here's what the Derby looks like. It looks like Judge, Otani, Henderson, Alonso, Alec Baum. Like now we've got
You got some
all.
names.
I just gave you 6 names. You're sitting there going,
Yeah.
who are the last 4?
Yeah. Mhm.
Right? So really, I'm starting you off the home run derby with the third best guy.
Yeah, yeah, I remember, you go
Can't go to a
10,
TV
5,
watching the
10 years
third best
actually,
guy.
like, 10 years ago, you had your Albert Pujolses. They were, participating, Bautistas, they were participating. You had your home run leaders, your home run hitters participating. Now you're having just your average home run leaders, middle of the pack
Look,
participate.
I'm not big into mandates. I'm not saying we should be mandating anything, but I do think that you should accept the invitation for what it is. You're having a stellar season. I think Judge had 34 home runs,
Mhm.
right? 34 home runs, and you're not going to participate in a derby that showcases your greatest ability to
Yeah.
smack the thing out of the park.
Mhm.
For me, it loses the luster if the best guys doing it aren't participating.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what the problem is.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
just
because I'm not tuning into the home run derby for people that I really don't know. I'm a casual major league fan to begin with, Like, you're doing an all-star, not game, but all-star,
event. It's an all-star event.
event, skill, you
Yeah.
know? And if my all-stars aren't there, like, I really don't care about it,
Well, it's not the
Like, you're
best in the business. It's not, not for nothing, but Major League Baseball should have said, "Hey, Shohei, we didn't really do a full investigation on that guy who was placing bets through your bank accounts. So, we can clearly do that full investigation, but we
Mhm.
just want to see you in the home run derby."
Yeah, hey, little blackmail.
I don't
I'm
want to
not
do it.
saying listen, I'm not saying that there's anything to investigate, but we might push it a little bit harder, see what we could dig up, or we
I'm just
could just
letting you
drop
know
it
that
right now and.
we could work a lot harder over here.
Yeah, yeah.
We just kinda went, "Hey, he didn't know anything,"
Mhm,
and walked away.
mhm.
I just think that needs to be it needs to be something.
Okay.
That's what I think we need to do. And it's analytics again. It's
Yeah.
guys going, well, I want the full break.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it, by the way, hurts their career.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. By the way, do we get a 4-day, or 5-day week break in our jobs with
No.
pay? No, we don't.
No.
It's your job. Participate in your job. Listen, if you're hurt, I understand. I'm not the season is long, and the ultimate goal in any professional sport is to win the championship. It's not to play in the All-Star game or All-Star events. I get that. So if you're hurt, by far, rest your injury. But for those that are just a little tired or want that little break, suck it up. It's your damn job. Do it.
Yeah. By the way, you didn't get Juan Soto either, who's got over 20 home runs. So you would have had, if you went by my rules, you would have had 2 Yankees in it, and Bryce Harper would have fell short, but that was because of his injury. He's at like 19 home runs. He would have, I think he's 12th. He would have just been outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, give me the top 10 guys. Let's see who hits the most home runs, because they're doing it in real games.
Yeah.
And if Judge wins, even better.
It also could be one of them that you could do like the top 8 guys and then have the last 2 spots invitational.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for a guy that just started getting healthy again, and he's known for smacking the heck out of the balls. All right.
Okay.
We'll invite him. We'll invite this person.
That stuff's
mix
great.
it up a little bit. Well,
right.
why aren't these people thinking the same way we do? Why are they bleeding their sport dry? Why are they killing their sport?
Because they don't have control of the athletes. And again, I don't want major control, but again, it should be something that where you're just happy to participate in. You're
It's
the
a
best,
job.
and it's yeah, I get that it's a job, and I get
it's a game to us. It's a game to us, but it's a job to them. Do you want to play 162 games plus play in the All-Star game plus play in the home run derby, or do you want to go work a 9 to 5 in a factory?
Well, not only that, this is going to be
where you get 1 week vacation a year. 1 week vacation you get a year.
Things like this should be considered when we're talking about Hall of Fame ballots. He was a home run. He had 34 home runs at the break. Did he participate in Major League Baseball's home run derby? No. Was he invited? Yes. Write it down.
Yeah.
Because it's part of that. Because when he's in Cooperstown, he's going to have to participate in Cooperstown. And I love Aaron Judge. He's great for the kids and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, we got to take honest shots. Right? We're making honest points.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
the problem. They're invited, not told.
Yes.
And I don't want to tell anybody, but I mean,
but we're told how to do our job the right way and do it the way that our company wants.
You don't think Bryce Harper wasn't told when he was a Washington National and the home run derby was being held in Washington National's ballpark?
That you have to participate.
They go, you don't have to do this, but it'd be really nice if you walked out there with like the American flag around your shoulders. That'd be
awesome. That'd be great. Yeah.
That'd be nice if you did that. We're not telling you.
Yeah.
But no more limos.
A lot of marketing behind these guys. A lot of marketing.
Yeah.
Don't think that they're thinking for themselves, because they're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for my quick hits. I really wanted I didn't bring this up earlier because I wanted to pick your brain without you having to sit there and mull over it a little bit. I wanted to get your quick reaction to it. So
that's
one of the reasons why I didn't give you the heads up on that one.
No, I appreciate that.
Sometimes there's certain points that you like to be prepared for, but there's reactions I don't want you to be prepared for. And I wanted to see your reaction on that.
Put me on the spot.
I was.
No, you understand that I'm a baseball man, and actually that was perfect because it fit right in with my analytics thing. I don't. I want analytics gone completely, because I think that analytics to me work no better for the player than superstition. Like, hey man, do you think wearing your underwear 6 days in a row because you're in a hitting streak makes you better?
Listen, when the 49ers are on a win streak, it's because of the jersey I'm wearing every week. All right.
But I'm saying, like, analytics are no better proven than
Then the
that.
Super-
And I'd
yes.
rather, yes, it keeps a player at his peak performance longer. But, one of Isaiah Thomas's and one of my arguments for him being the best point guard of all time. This is my argument for Isaiah Thomas, by the way, is that he played against Magic Johnson on what they considered a torn ankle tendon.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And dropped 23 the next quarter. What?
Yeah.
You ever roll your ankle?
Yeah, it hurts.
He tore the tendon.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to make a cut on that. Yeah.
He tore the tendon and dropped 23 on a one leg. Dude, the highlights are out there. He's hopping around.
Yeah.
He didn't go sit out. He didn't go cry. He didn't put ice on it. That's Bobby Knight's boy, by the way. But that's a moment that he can put his stamp on.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else go,
agree.
well, I tore my tendon and I wasn't able to walk anymore. Walk. Let's see it. You're an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moment.
No, listen, I agree. I don't think analytics should be totally taken out. I think it should be part of the process. I don't think it should outweigh anything. I think everything should always go back to the eye test. Everything should always go back to the eye test. You use analytics as a tool, not a see it all or do it all tool, but just a tool as part of the process. Like the 40.
I want my guys
like
going
the
out
40
there with
time
broken legs and clubbed arms.
Like the 40 time really means nothing when you have pads on. There are certain players that have track speed and there's certain players that have football speed. All right. I just want that to be part of the process. Just a little nugget.
Don't say that. My 40 time's been coming down lately. I've been working really hard at it.
I'm sure you have.
Finally under 6 minutes.
Be working on your endurance more than
under 6 minutes finally.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you. Rich Eisen should be proud of you.
My hamstrings are killing me, but I get out there every day. You want to know why? Broken legged and clubbed armed.
That's right. Do you run the 40 in a suit too?
No, I run it in this.
No? In your Hawaiian shirt?
I do. I look ridiculous, but I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All
right, no more quick hits
for this week. No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday, July 21st. We will have training camp first thoughts next week, along with other stories that pop up. We'll see you next Sunday. Jack Neary, Greg Kratzer. Let's go.
Have a great evening, guys, and a great week.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Every Point Sports Podcast featuring Greg and Jack starts